It's becoming a pattern. President Biden finding ways to really press Senator McConnell, now daring him to reject policies that are supported by Republican voters. There have been multiple mass shootings, and today Biden made the focus gun reform, calling on Congress to go ahead and ban these assault weapons and pointing out this does have the support of many Republican voters, even while in D.C. people like McConnell are resisting. This is, as we've been reporting on the beat, quite the emerging theme. Biden made a similar argument on infrastructure just a day ago and has been on it for a while.
Those who oppose the plan, what don't they like? They want everything that's in the plan. Not a joke.
I have electoral support from Republican voters.
These aren't Republican bridges, Democratic airports, Republican hospitals, or Democratic power grid.
They had support of both Democrats and Republicans. This is not a partisan issue among the American people. And I'm willing to work with anyone to get these done.
Do some Republicans agree with some of what Joe Biden's doing? Well, we're joined by someone who used to run the Republican Party and was the #2 Republican official in the state of Maryland. His name is Michael Steele. You may know him from many of his activities, including his Muppet work right here on the beat. And he is a Republican who came around to endorsing Joe Biden for president. We thought you'd be good for this. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm juggling. What do you think here of the way Biden is clearly making this a repeat theme?
What you're seeing, and I hope people appreciate this because I know a lot of folks around town do. What you're seeing Joe do is 43 years of senatorial experience. He's working the system. He's working the system in parts against itself. And he's doing a little bit of what Reagan was very good at, Bill Clinton was very good at, and Barack Obama was pretty good at. And that is going directly to the American people, kind of going over the head of Congress, kind of going around the process and stating with a lot of clarity, this is what I want to do. And you need me to do this because you want me to do this. And so we saw it first coming out of the gate on COVID. You see it now with infrastructure. And the polling is reflecting that because voters are setting aside the sort of partisan aspects of this game and saying, look, I've been unemployed for the past year. And if this is something that will create a job in my community, get me back to work, I'm for it. Look, I'm driving these trucks on broken bridges and potholed streets. If this will fix that so that I don't have those added expenses because my axle keeps getting grinded down by potholes, I'm for it. So he's making it very real for people to understand what he's trying to do. And it makes it tough on the messaging side for Republicans to come back and say to those very same people, be they Republicans or not, you don't want him to do that. And they're not buying it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And it really also speaks to the vulnerability of part of the Republican Party after the MAGA meltdown, the insurrection, and the parts of the country club conservatives who may not want to be down with all this. And I'll say something, Michael, I worked in the Senate. And at the time, even among Democrats who liked Biden, he was not then seen as a political mastermind or super agile. And perception comes and goes, or maybe it wasn't accurate. Here we are 70 days in. He seems to be very agile at working with an increasingly broad Democratic coalition while really thumping on McConnell every week. Has he exceeded what may have been the political expectations or the ideas about him so far while it's early?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it's a correct point that he has. And I think that's what's really kind of pushed some of the Republicans back on their heels, especially McConnell. McConnell has not been as, beating his chest, if you will, as he was during the early term of Barack Obama. And certainly even with respect to Donald Trump, in that, the idea was, well, we can control him and, we're the leadership and he has to come through us. And Trump, of course, showed them to be fools on that. Biden, in a sense, is kind of showing the foolishness of this thinking as well when it comes to how he's approaching the critical issues in his administration. And I give you this to note on that point. despite the difficulty and the ugly messaging around what's happening at the border, what you're still seeing is people are now not taking that and upsizing it, making it bigger than all the other things that we're currently discussing, like COVID and infrastructure, but they're keeping it in the context. And that's largely because of the way the president has been talking about these things. He's acknowledged the sin at the border. He's recognized that something has to be done, but he is also putting it in the context of everything else that we need to have done. And people are just trying to, I guess, kind of come to the conclusion, yeah, I think I need to do maybe infrastructure a little bit more before I do this or that other thing. We'll see how it works out, but he's working it to his advantage right now.